Like what were those like minutes like during and right after?
The second.
I mean even the second, yeah.
Yeah, so as I told you, I was inside watching TV. So when I heard the sound of I heard it like it was so far from me, and then it come close more and more. Normally it should be like 3-5 seconds, something like that, but it kept moving. So then I was scared. And then I saw the ceiling was just moving like this. And there's stuff that was breaking down. Then there was a wall in front of the house that fell. Jesus, help us, and then he stopped. And I saw like it was something that's just open like that. That was crazy, but I thought that was the end of the world. And after the earthquake, just when the earthquake was stopped, and then we ran away out of the house, and then that was terrible. I saw that the houses was just on the floor. Houses normally used to be up like that, so I just saw them on the floor, and people screaming and crying, and people run away. They don't know which way to go, which way to take.
That's 6 apartment. That's 6. 3 upstairs and 3 downstairs. The one upstairs go down. Yeah.
Once there was a way to get back homeward. Once there was a way to give back home. Sleep, pretty darling, tonight.
This was a hospital, and it fell. Boom. That's crazy. That's terrible.
Cold and summers fill your eyes. Smiles awake you when you rise. Sleep, pretty darling, do not cry. And I will sing a lullaby.
I mean, I said it myself, like the people here are more vibrant and more inspiring and infectious than I was expecting and that I've ever encountered. But something this devastating can finally get to you. And that even a group of people as vibrant as Haitians, you can see the devastation.
And I will sing a lullaby.
It was like the second day we were here, I think Rudy took us, we were just walking around one of the camps here, and we met this man, and he said, "Come, I need to show you something." And he led us back to this little patch of broken tiles and cinder blocks that were all pointed and everything, and there's a blanket on one side. This is where he sleeps, you know, this is where him and his 2 kids sleep.
And I will sing a lullaby.
The first day that we were there, I was we had been helping with registration, and had finished doing registration, and we're hanging out just sort of in the camp, and a bunch of kids sort of came up to us and were like sitting around us and saying hi, and I ended up actually having a conversation in English with this 6-year-old boy. We walked around and he was holding my hand, and then like we got in the truck and we were leaving, and I like waved goodbye to him, and then I looked up at the hill covered with the tents and the shacks, and it was like at that moment where it really, like, I actually made the connection between this specific individual human being that I had just met and interacted with and bonded with, and the fact that he was living in this camp and was living underneath a tarp.
Daddy's ghost behind you.
That's been my first priority, is getting a portable clinic up and running. And since we've had that, we've been going to different camps where there may be anywhere between 250 and 800 families that are camping outside here in Port-au-Prince, and with tents, some of them with lean-tos, some of them with very little covering their head, and with very little medical care available. So we've been taking ourselves to them since they can't bring themselves to us. We're going to give some calcium just to make this stop. These are once a day. And they taste good to eat. Okay? Let me get one. As in any primary care situation, you see basic primary care illnesses such as coughs and colds and diarrhea and vomiting. And all of that takes a special significance because the children and adults that you're caring for are at the very bottom of their ability to sustain, and they're out of resilience. And so we've been doing a lot of care that involves giving antibiotics for things that maybe in the States we wouldn't have to. That involves doing basic care like treating children to prevent dehydration.
So Jake, tell us what you're doing right now.
I am getting 5 APAP, which is also known as acetaminophen, or Tylenol. And I'm cutting them in half with this kid over here who has a cold but no fever. 1. And we put them in the little baggies. And then this, allergies, cold, we're good.
And then overriding all of that is just the amazing amount of stress that these families are experiencing and the physical symptoms that leads to.
The old school kind of think of people affected by disaster as victims. Actually, we consider them a great resource and an asset. For instance, in our Child-Friendly Spaces program, we have picked people from the affected communities and camps and given them a job to look after the children.
Now we're in the car. We're going at Petroville camp, one of the biggest camp in Delmas. So we're going to have the kids have fun. I'm going to teach them karate, and Barbara, John, and Ellie, and also Alicia will be there. We'll pass maybe 4 hours together, and that will be sick.
And I remember we got off like right inside the camp, and we walked whatever, like a quarter of a mile alongside the bottom of the camp and then up the hill, and every single person we saw embraced, like smiled and said hi to us, every single person, and it just made me so happy and so optimistic in a certain way.
refugee camps, and they would all kind of like just crowd around, and then they would just eventually just kind of like cover us and like be like playing with our hair and like touching our skin, or just like holding on to us.
Say hi, John.
Hello.
¿Cómo oye?
Me?
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's just water everywhere.
It's like a river.
Yeah.
Don't they have to try and improve their lives in some way? Like, doesn't this kind of like flash flood where the streets are rivers make them want to change?
Today is Friday 19, and since yesterday it was raining.
Probably the most difficult time for me was last night when there was that flash flood, and I just realized that everyone that we have met or heard of, just hundreds of thousands of people, were right now in 6 inches of water. Their tents are just getting wet, soaked. The people are sleeping in mud if they're sleeping at all. And it was just extraordinarily emotionally overwhelming.
This is a church, and during the rain, they let some people get in, some people who don't have tents or tops, they come here to get refuge. But there's still a problem because of the rain, and there's a little hole over there, and behind this there's water that's come inside of the church. So the problem is that when the water comes in, people will not be able to sleep because water will wet them.
Thing that is
kind of lost when people read about a disaster is they sort of forget the human element and just focus on the numbers and the horrible things that are happening. So I guess maybe the most useful thing that I would want to take back from the trip is just the people we've met, the people that we really got to know, and then just sort of Haiti isn't some sort of like hellhole in the middle of nowhere. It's a country where life goes on and people do everyday things and have stories to tell.
I was writing an email to my friend a couple days ago, and I was saying like how even though so much of this has been so negative and I've seen so many terrible things, I'm coming out of it with an odd sense of optimism about people that I didn't have before. And I guess like that's just sort of what these experiences have showed me.
You always find something. You will always have something that will make you happy. Even if you were in the worst situation, you will always find somebody or something that will make you happy.